प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, हरे कृष्णा दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्णा दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी। Hare Krishna, all devotees, Dandavat Pranam, and thank you very much for joining the early morning short Bhagavatam class. I welcome and invite you to this class. This is our early morning short Bhagavatam class from Radha Govinda Temple, Bengaluru, for and on behalf of His Divine Grace, Sri Namarishta Das Prabhuji. Let us begin with prayers so that we understand whatever message Lord Krishna wants to give us. Om Ajnantimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swami Niti Namine. Namo Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayine Gaura Pradha Damadaya Nagar Gram Tarine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadam Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishvansha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sagar Lalitam Shri Vishakhanvitascha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. May I request you to follow me after me? Janma Hari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Janmadasya yatho anvayada itirata chartheshu abhigna swarat.
Janmadesya yatonvayayatachartheshu abhigyasvarat.
Tene brahmaradaya adikavaye Muyanti Suraya.
Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye
Muhyanti
Muhanti Surya.
Tejo Vari Mrudam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Brusha.
तेजोवारिमृतां यथा विनिमयो यत्र
यथा विनिमयो
सर्ग
यत्र
अमृषा
Damna Svena Sada Nirastakuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi.
धाम्नां स्वेन
आम्ना
सदा
सदा
निरस्तकुहकं
निरस्तकुहकं
सत्यं परं
सत्यां परं
धीमहि
धीमहि
Dharmaha Projita Kaitavotra Paramo Nirmatsaranam Satam.
धर्म
धर्मपराजितकैतवो अत्र
प्रोजितकैतवोऽत्र
परमो
परमो
निर्मत्सराणां
निर्मत्सराणां
सताम्
सताम्
Vedyam Vastavamatra Vastu Shivatam Tapatrayon Moolanam.
वेदयं वासवमत्र
यमास्त्वमत्र
वस्तुशिवतं
वस्तु शिवतं
तापत्रयोन्मूलनम्
तापत्रयोन्मूलनम्
श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः
श्रीमद्भागवते
श्रीमद्भागवते
महामुनिकृते
महामुनिकृते किं वा
वापरेश्वरः
परेश्वरः
तद्योरुद्यवरुद्य तेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिः तत्क्षणात्
सद्योरुद्य अपत्रकृतिभिः शुश्रूषोभिस्तक्षणात्
निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं सुखमुखात् अमृतद्रवसंयुक्तम्
निगमकल्पतरोगलितं
कल्पतरुगलितं
फलं
फलं
सुखमुखात्
सुखमुखादमृतभसंयुतं
अमृतद्रवसंयुतम्
पिबत भागवतं रसमालयम् मुहुरहो रसिकः भुवि भावुकाः
पिबत
पिबत
भागवतं
भागवतं
रसमालयं
रसमलयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि
मुहुरहोरसिकः
भावुकाः
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमम्
नारायणं
नमस्कृत्य
नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमम्
नरोत्तमम्
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये
देवीं
देवीं
सरस्वतीं
सरस्वतीं
व्यासं
व्यासं
ततो जयमुदीरये
मुदीरये
शृणतां स्वकतः कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः
शृण्वतां सकतां
स्वकथा
कृष्णः
कृष्ण
पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः
पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना
हृदयन्तस्तु यभद्राणि विदुनोति सुरस्तथा
उदन्तः
दन्ते अस्तु
भद्राणि
भद्राणि
विदोनति
विदुनोति
सुदासताम्
सुविद्यताम्
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नष्टप्रायेषु
प्रायेषु
अभद्रेषु
अभद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
भागवत सेवया
भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी
भक्ति
उत्तमश्लोके
उत्तमश्लोके
भवति
भक्तिर्भवति
नैष्टिकी
नैष्टिके
Let us remind ourselves that the ultimate goal of our life is Naistiki Bhakti towards Uttam Sloka, Lord Krishna, and this can be achieved with Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Nama Japa, and this automatically takes away all inauspicious things from our life. Today we have the second part of recitation of verses and translation. And we are going to start from verse 51. We completed first 50 verses yesterday. And I hope and sincerely wish that as per our wishes, we are getting some kind of a bird's eye view or recollection of the entire chapter that we have gone through. Revati Mataji is present today. Could I ask you, Mataji, to read first 51 to 16 verses?
I had a very sleepless night, so I couldn't manage to this thing. Sorry, extremely sorry, Prabhuji.
No problem, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Srinivas Rao Prabhuji.
Can I recite? Can I recite, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Let me, Srinivas Rao Prabhuji, let Revati Mataji finish first and then you go according to as earlier we planned. Is that
Yeah,
all right,
okay.
Srinivas Rao Prabhuji?
Okay, Prabhuji, no
Hare
issue.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
From
Revati
61 to
Mataji,
70,
go
I
ahead,
can.
please.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna,
very much,
Prabhuji.
Yes,
Prabhuji.
yes.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Savarayasma shatma yeto
Shall I read 61 to 70?
navavayabhanavabi iti vedassa vidyano vidyanas guru hari. Hare Krishna.
Translation, Mataji.
Translation. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, one who is engaged in devotional service has not the least fear in material existence. This is because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a super soul and friend of everyone. One who knows this secret is actually educated, and one thus educated can become the spiritual master of the world. One who is an actually bona fide spiritual master, representative of Krishna, is not different from Krishna. Purport. Can I read the purport also, Prabhuji?
No, Mataji, just the verse and the translation.
Yes, Prabhuji. One who is, this also can I read?
Just a minute, Mataji. Yeah. Okay. There your verse is.
Yeah, 52. Narada uvacha prashnam evam hi sajjinno bhavata purushoshama annameva dado kuyyam nishamaya sunishchitam. Can you please scroll, Prabhuji? Translation.
Yes,
The great Saint Narada continued, "O great personality, I have replied properly about all that you have asked me. Now here another narration that is accepted by saintly persons and is very confidential. Purport. Sri Narada Muni is personally acting as a...
Mataji only up to translation, please.
Okay. And 53.
Thank you, Mataji.
Shuddhacharam sumanasam sharanam viditva raktam shaddam tikrana samasu lubdam karnam agre vrikana suddhobi ave vignayayantaha pushte mrigam mrigaye lupto gabana binnam. Hare Krishna. Translation. Translation. My dear king, please search out that deer who is engaged in eating grass in a very nice flower garden along with his wife. That deer is very much attached to his business and he is enjoying the sweet singing of the humble bee in his garden. Just try to understand his position. It's unfair that before him is a tiger which is accustomed to living at the cost of another's flesh. Behind the deer is a hunter who is threatening to pierce him with a sharp arrows. Thus the deer death is imminent. Hare Krishna. (4.2954) Sumanam samardharmanam srinam sharanam ashrame pushpam dugantatva shuddhatam kamyam karma vibhagajam kama sukalavam janvyo pastyadi vichinvantamidun muyaha tatabine vishadam man shanda dirgana samagit vadati mano haravano dati janalo beshwati taramamati pralobita karnamrika vrikuyuda vadatmana ahirato aharotrana kalava vishno naviganma griheshu viharanta पृष्ठत एव परेक्षमनु प्रवितो लुप्तकः कृतान्तो अन्तः शरणेयामिह परिविद्याति तामि मामात्मनो महो राजन् भिन्न हृदय दृष्टमहसति. हरे कृष्णा. Translation. My dear king, woman who is very attractive in the beginning, but in the end very disturbing, is actually like the flower, which is attractive in the beginning and detestable at the end. With woman, the living entity is entangled with lusty desires and enjoys sex just as one enjoys the aroma of a flower. He thus enjoys a life of sense gratification from his tongue to his genitals, and in this way the living entity considers himself very happy in family life, united with his wife. He always remains absorbed in such thoughts. He feels great pleasure in hearing the talks of his wife and children, which are like the sweet humming of humble bees that collect honey from flower to flower. He forgets that before him is time, which is taking away his lifespan with the passing of day and night. He does not see the gradual diminishing of his life, nor does he care about the superintendent of death, who is trying to kill him from behind. Just try to understand this. You are in precarious position and are threatened from all sides. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. You are doing very well. Keep going on. I would just request you to give gratitude to Srila Prabhupada for his wonderful translation.
Hare Krishna.
There is some technical problem. I'm not getting the next words.
Krishna. 4.2955. Swatam vichakshya mrugo jeshti atmano anta shrichatam niyacham hridi karnaduni vachite jahangana shramam asadadam yudagadam pranahi ansa sharanam virama kramanam. Hare Krishna. Translation. My dear king, just try to understand the analytical position of the deer, but be fully conscious of yourself and give up pleasure of hearing about promotion of heavenly bodies, planets by fruity activity. Give up household life, which is full of sex, as well as stories about such things, and take shelter of the Supreme Personality Godhead. Through the mercy of the liberated souls, in this way, please give up your attraction for material existence. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. .2956. Rajovacha Shitamannam Vikshitam Brahman Bhagamanyata Bhasha Naita Jamburya Viryo Yadi. Hare Krishna. Translation. The king replied, My dear Brahmana, whatever you have said, I have heard with great attention And considering all of it, have come to the conclusion that the Acharya teachers who engaged me in the fruitive activity did not know the confidential knowledge if they were aware of it. Why did they not explain? It is to me. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. 4.29.56. Raja.
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Krishna Prabhuji, 4.29.
Your internet is unstable and so voice is cracking. Hare Krishna Mataji. Or is it my internet? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
We can hear you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Prabhuji, we can
Prabhuji.
hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, then fine. Then it is probably Mataji's internet connection.
Can I read again? Can I read again? Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you, Mataji. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. 4.29.57. Sansho atra tu me vipra sajjina krito maha.
Rishayo apihi muhyan.
Rishayo abhihi muhanti yatra naitriva vriddaya. Hare Krishna. Translation. My dear Brahmana, there are contradictions between your instruction and those of my spiritual teachers, who is engaged me in fruitive activities, devotional service, knowledge and renunciation. I had some doubts about them, but you have now very kindly disappeared these doubts. I can now understand how even the great sages are bewildered by their real life. And of course, there is no question of sense gratification. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
There are minute internet issues, but please forgive all of us. Go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, 4.29.48. Karmano yadvadeyena bhumaniha vihayadam amutraneyena dehena sushtani yadashrute. Hare Krishna. Translation. There is the results of whatever a living entity does in this life or enjoyed in the next life. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. 4.29.50. Idi veda vidam vadaho shreyato tatra tatraha karma yati kriyate proktam paroksham na prakashate. Hare Krishna. Translation. The expert knows of the Vedic conclusions say that one enjoys or suffers a result of his past activities. But practically it is seen that the body that performed the work in the last birth is already. So how is it possible to enjoy or suffer the reactions of that work in a different body? Hare Krishna Prabhuji. .29.60. Narada Vacha Yono Varbade Karma Taino Vamudratat Puvan Badakte Havya Vadena Lingena Manasa Swayam. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Translation. The great sage Narada continued, the living entity acts in a gross body in this life. This body is forced to act by
by the subtle body composed of mind,
Joy
intelligence, and
there is
ego.
no change. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Revati Mataji.
Thank you
for
very
your-
much for giving my diamond opportunity, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Srinivas Rao Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, go ahead. I will request you to give gratitude to Srila Prabhupada before you read translation.
Yes,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sayanimam Urusrujya Swasantam Purusho Yatha Karmatmanya Hitam Bhujekte Tadrushene Tarenava. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. A living entity while dreaming gives up the actual living body through the activities of his mind and intelligence. He acts in another body either as a god or a dog. After giving up this gross body, the living entity enters either an animal body or a demigod's body on this planet or on another planet. He thus enjoys the results of the actions of his past life. 62. Mamaite manasa yat asavahamiti bruvan gruhniyat tat puman radham karmayena punarbhavaha. The living entity labors under the bodily conception of I am this, I am that, my duty is this, and therefore I shall do it. These are all mental impressions, and all these activities are temporary. Nonetheless, by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the living entity gets a chance to execute all his mental concoctions. Thus, he gets another body. '63. यथानुमीयते चित्तम् उभयैरिन्द्रिये हितैः एवं प्राग्देहजं कर्म लक्ष्यते चित्तवृत्तिभिः. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. One can understand the mental or conscious position of a living entity by the activities of two kinds of senses, the knowledge acquiring senses and the executive senses. Similarly, by the mental condition or consciousness of a person, one can understand his position in the previous life. '64. Nanubhutam kvachanena dehanatrustam asrutam kadachidupalapyeta yadrupam yadrugatmani. Translation. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Sometimes we suddenly experience something that was never experienced in the present body by sight or hearing. Sometimes we see such things suddenly in dreams. '65. Enashyatadrusham rajan lingino deha sambhavam Shraddhata swananubhutorto namana sprastum arahati. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Therefore, my dear king, the living entity who has subtle mental covering develops all kinds of thoughts and images because of his previous body. Take this from me as certain. There is no possibility of concocting anything mentally without having perceived it in the previous body. Mana eva manushtyasya purvarupani samsati bhavishyataksha badram te tataiva na bhavishyataha. 66. Translation. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O King, all good fortune unto you. The mind is the cause of the living entities attaining a certain type of body. In accordance with his association with material nature, according to one's mental composition, one can understand what the living entity was in his past life, as well as what kind of body he will have in the future. Thus, the mind indicates the past and future bodies. 67. Adrushtam asrutam chatra kvachinmanasi drushyate yata tatanum antavyam deshakala kriyashrayam. Translation. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sometimes in a dream we see something never experienced or heard of in this life, but all these incidents have been experienced at different times, in different places, and in different conditions. 8. Sarve kramanurudena manasindriya gocharaha ayanti bahusho yanti sarve samanaso janaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The mind of the living entity continues to exist in various gross bodies, and according to one's desires for sense gratification, the mind records different thoughts. In the mind, these appear together in different combinations. Therefore, these images sometimes appear as things never seen or never heard of before. 69. Sattvaikanište manasi bhagavat parshavattini tama chandramasi vedam uparajyava bhasate. 69. Translation. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Krishna consciousness means constantly associating with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in such a mental state that the devotee can observe the cosmic manifestation exactly as the Supreme Personality of Godhead does. Such observation is not always possible, but it becomes manifest exactly like the dark planet known as Rahu, which is observed in the presence of the full moon. 70. Naham mameti bhavoyam purushe vyavadhiyate yavad buddhi manokshadha gunavyoho yanadiman. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As long as there exists the subtle material body composed of intelligence, mind, senses, sense objects, and the reactions of the material qualities, the consciousness of false identification and its relative objective, the gross body, exist as well. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dhanyavad.
Srinivas Rao Prabhuji, you did it with great perfection. Thank you very much. That was most wonderful.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dhanyavad Pranams.
Hare Krishna, Dhanyavad Pranam, Prabhuji. Next name comes is Uma Kulkarni Mataji. I don't know whether she is present or not. Uma Mataji, are you present? Okay, it seems she is not present. Ayushi Mataji, you were raising your hand. Would you like to recite next 10 verses?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Next 10%.
Go ahead, Mataji. Yes. Or whatever
Hare
number
Krishna
you want
Prabhuji.
to.
Yes, Prabhuji. I cannot recite in meter, but I can try whatever I know. Thank you for giving
Yes.
opportunity. Supti murcho patapsu pranayana vigahataha nihate aham iti jnanam mrityu prajwaryor api. Prabhuji 70. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Translation.
Translation by Divine Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When the living entity is in deep sleep, when he faints, when there is some great shock on account of severe loss at the time of death, or when the body temperature is very high, the movement of life here is arrested. At that time, the living entity loses knowledge of identifying the body with the self. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Can you change, please?
Yes, Mataji.
72.
Go ahead, Mataji.
गर्भे गर्भे बले अपि अपस्कल्यात् एकादशा विधं तदा लिंगं न दृश्यते युनः कुह्वं चन्द्रमासो यथा. Translation. Prabhuji, I'm unable to see this translation.
Go ahead, Mataji.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When one is a youth, all the 10 senses and the mind are completely visible. However, in the mother's womb, all in the boyhood state, the sense organ and the mind remain covered, just as the full moon is covered by the darkness of dark moon night.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
73. Yes, Prabhuji. 73. अर्थे हय अविद्यमाने अपि संस्त्रीर्न निवर्तते न्यायतो विषयानस्य स्वप्ने अनर्थगमो यथा. Translation. Prabhuji, can you please scroll up a little bit? Translation. When the living entity dreams, the sense objects are not actually present. However, because one has associated with the sense object, they become manifest. Similarly, the living entity with undeveloped senses does not cease to exist materially, even though he may not be exactly in contact with the sense object. Text 74. एवं पंचविधं लिंगं त्रिवृत् षोडशविस्तृतम् एषा चेतनया युक्तो जीव इति अभिधीयते. Translation. Translation by Divine Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The five sense objects, the five sense organ, the five knowledge acquiring senses, and the mind are 16 material expansions. These combined with the living entity are influenced by the three modes of material nature. Thus, the existence of the conditioned soul is understood. Text 75. Anena puruso dehanupadate vimuchyati harsasokam bhayam dukkam sukkam chanena vindati. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. By the virtue of the process of subtle body, the living entity develops and gives us gross bodies. This is known as the transmigration of the soul. Thus, the soul becomes subjected to different types of so-called enjoyment, lamentation, fear, happiness, and unhappiness. Text 76-77. Yatha trinah jalukeyam napayate apayati cha na त्यजेन म्रियमानो अपि pragdeha हिमन्तिं जना यावदन्यं न विन्दते व्यवधानेन कर्माणां मना एव मनुष्येन्द्र भूतानां भवभावनम्. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The caterpillar transports itself from one leaf to another by capturing one leaf before giving up the other. Similarly, according to his previous work, the living entity must capture another body before giving up the one he has. This is because the mind is the reservoir of all kinds of desire. Text 78. यदा क्षयश्चरितान् ध्येयान् कर्माणि अच्नुते सकृत् सति कर्माणि अविद्यायां बन्धः कर्मणि अनन्तमनः. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhuji, please. Translation. As long as we desire to enjoy sense gratification, we create material activities. When the living entity acts in the material field, he enjoys the senses, and while enjoying the senses, he creates another series of material activities. In this way, the living entity becomes entrapped as a conditioned soul. Text 79. अतस्तद् अपावधृतं भजः सर्वात्मना हरिं पश्यांस्तद् आत्मकं विश्वं स्थितिः उत्पत्ति अपययः यथा. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You should always know that this cosmic manifestation is created, maintained, and annihilated by the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, everything within this cosmic manifestation is under the control of the Lord. To be enlightened by this perfect knowledge, one should always engage himself in devotional service of the Lord. Text 80. Maitreya Vacha Bhagavata Mukhyo Bhagavan Narado Hamsayor Gatim Pradarshaya Haya Amintriya Siddha Lokam Tato Agamat. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The great sage Maitreya continued. The supreme devotee, the great saint Narada, thus explained to King Prachena Barhi the constitutional position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the living entity. After giving an invitation to the king, Narad Muni left to return to Siddhaloka.
Thank you very much, Ayushi Mataji. You did it very well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving chance. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Uma Mataji, can you finish the remaining 5 slokas?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Go ahead, Mataji.
Sloka number 81. Prachinavari Rajashi Praja Sarvirakshane Adishya Putran Agamat Tapase Kapilashramam. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. In the presence of his ministers, the saintly king Prachinavari left orders for his sons to protect the citizens. He then left home and went off to undergo austerities in a holy place known as Kapilashrama. Verse number 82. Tarekagramana dhiro Govinda charanambujam Vimukta sango anubajan Bhaktya tat samyatam agat. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Prabhupada Ki Jai. Having undergone austerities and penances at Kapilashrama, King Prachinavari attained full liberation from all material designations. He constantly engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord and attained a spiritual position qualitatively equal to that of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Verse number 83. Etat adhyatmana paroksham Gitam devashinam gana yah shavayed yah smuta salingena vimuchyate. Translation by Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. My dear Vidudara, one who hears this narration concerning the understanding of living entities, spiritual existence, as described by the great sage Narada, or who relate it to others, it will be liberated from the bodily conception of life. Verse number 84. Etan mukunda yasyad bhuvanam punam devashri varya mukha rishrutam atma saucham yah kitayamanam adhigachanti parameshtiyam nadi nasmina bhave brahmati mukta samasta bandha. Translation by Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. This narration spoken by the great sage Narada is full of transcendental fame of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, this narration, when described, certainly sacrifice this material world. It purifies the heart of the living entity and helps him attain his spiritual identity. One who relates this transcendental narration will be liberated from all material bondage and will no longer have to wander within this material world. Verse number 85. Adhyatma paroksham idam maya degatam adbhutam evam shriyashrama pumsa chinno amutra cha samchayah. Translation by Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. The allegory of King Puranjana described herein according to authority was heard by me from my spiritual master, and it is full of spiritual knowledge. If one can understand the purpose of this allegory, he will certainly be relieved from the bodily conception and will clearly understand life after death. Although one may not understand what transmigration of the soul actually is, one can fully understand it by studying this narration.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you very much, Uma Mataji. Thank you for joining at last, but completing everything very well. I sincerely
Thank you,
thank
Prabhu.
all the volunteers. Hare Krishna Mataji, I thank you all the volunteers and my Dandavat Pranam to all of you for doing so wonderfully well. I think I must learn many things from all of you. Surya Prakash Rao Prabhuji, you want to say something?
Prabhuji,
Yes,
you
Prabhuji.
gave a lot of inspiration to all of us. Uh, so next time, my suggestion is that more number of participants are there. You divide it to for 5 slokas so that more will have the
Yes,
opportunity to
yes.
read. Am I correct?
Yes.
Actually, I
Yes,
want to read
Prabhuji. In
61 to
fact,
70. Yes, please. Yes,
yeah,
Prabhuji. Sorry
yeah.
to
He-
interrupt you.
No,
Interruption.
no problem. Prabhuji, you are absolutely right. Actually, we want to convert to 5 slokas per person. But this
Yeah.
was the first time and I knew that there will not be many volunteers. And
We'll see.
we
Depend
barely
upon
got
the
through very
volunteers.
well.
I hope that
Yes.
I
So
next time
now,
you will have lot of people.
yes, exactly. That's what I feel. In fact,
Uh,
when we began, we have to request Sujata Mataji to start because the people who were to be there were not there. But you see, it keeps happening. Either person has a ill health, something has happened in the family, something has gone wrong, or something is happening around. So we are not immune to all these things, and we have to understand that these variables always keep affecting us. Next time, I'm sure we will do with the 5 verses, and
we
that
can
is the
see.
standard procedure.
Yes, yes. Number of
Yes, you are
participants we can take.
absolutely right.
Say, quote instead, next
Yeah,
chapter is 51 slokas are there. 10 participants can
yeah,
have. Yeah, we will see,
yes.
sir.
Yes,
Thank you so
and
much, Prabhuji.
I'm sure that today, as people have seen for last 2 days,
Uh,
they would be very happy to volunteer now.
yes,
Thank you
yes.
all the volunteers for your
Myself, Subbarao
sincerity,
Prabhuji,
your
some other people
dedication.
are still not got the opportunity. Initially, we told, you know.
Yeah,
It's all right.
yeah,
Shravanam is also important.
yes, that's true, Subbarao.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Surya Prakash Rao Prabhuji, your hand is still raised. You
Ah,
want to
yes.
say
So
something?
I want to say that
Yeah,
that's why, yes, I will.
yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Already told you, next time we'll have
Uh,
more participants so that
Yes, yes.
number of opportunities will
Yes,
on, you
and
know.
next time even Asureka Mataji and other people will be present as well. So
Ah,
I don't have to juggle through all the things that I had to do on the screen.
barabar.
Ayushi
Yes.
Mataji, your hand is raised as well. Thank you, Surya Prakash Rao.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, as
Yes, Mataji.
there was planning like to take Chaitanya Charitamrita class. So similarly, is there any like organized for Lila Amrit class, like any group which is conducting Lila Amrit class, like this
Not that
class
I
for
know of,
Srimad Bhagavatam?
Mataji. I don't know, but there is a class going on in the evening for Krishna book. I'll find out for you. If I can find anything, I'll come back to you. Well,
Thank you,
we
Prabhuji.
have crossed over the time, and everyone was very energetic. I am thankful, and my Dandavat Pranam to all of you. All of you have the
Hare
wonderful
Krishna,
day
Prabhuji.
ahead.
Dandavat.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Prabhuji.
Mataji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji,
Mataji.
for your
Pranam,
inspiring
Dandavat
class.
Sujata
Pranam,
Mataji.
Prabhuji.
Dandavat
Pranam.
Pranam.
Pranam,
Dandavat
Prabhuji.
Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Pranam,
Thank you.
Prabhuji.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna,
Thank you so
Prabhuji.
much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna,
Very
Prabhuji.
nice idea,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.